Welcome to the deep dive. We sort through the noise, look at the evidence, and try to bring you the clearest insights from, well, everything we've been reading. Today, we're taking on something really important, something intensely personal and often just devastatingly misunderstood: the aftermath of narcissistic abuse. If you've ever felt like, your internal compass is just broken, like you're lost in this fog of self-doubt, maybe you look in the mirror and you just don't recognize that person anymore, I really want you to hear this. It is absolutely not just in your head. So our mission today in this deep dive is to explore why that feeling is so incredibly disorienting, how this unique kind of damage actually happens, and maybe most importantly, how you can start to navigate the path back. It's challenging, yes, but ultimately it's about reclaiming your authentic self. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and it's so crucial to understand right from the get-go. This isn't like a bad breakup you just, get over with time. What our sources consistently point to is that narcissistic abuse is um, it's a slow, systematic dismantling. It's like taking apart your very essence piece by piece. It's a kind of psychological warfare, really, that operates totally under the radar. It doesn't leave the kind of bruises you can see, right? It doesn't announce itself. Instead, it it whispers. It erodes things slowly. It deliberately reshapes your inner world until, well, everything you thought you were starts to feel foreign, alien. It's this profound loss of self, like a core identity theft. Honestly, it leaves so many people feeling like an empty shell. And that's the deep-seated damage we really need to illuminate today.
That really hits home. It describes the devastation so precisely, and what's so surprising, almost counterintuitive about this type of abuse is how it nearly always starts. It doesn't usually kick off with, obvious cruelty or aggression, does it?
No, not typically.
Our research keeps showing it often begins with this just overwhelming wave of charm, intense admiration. Someone telling you that you, specifically you, are special, you're different, that you matter more to them than anyone ever. And for a lot of people, that feels incredible, like the answer they've been searching for, the missing piece. And of course, you believe them. Why wouldn't you? It feels so real. It feels amazing. It taps right into that deep human need for connection, for belonging.
Absolutely.
But what you don't realize in those early, often intoxicating moments is that it's not real connection. It's actually a meticulously crafted illusion. It's bait.
Exactly. And what's particularly insidious, really dangerous about this initial idealization phase is the deliberate psychology behind it.
Right.
The abuser isn't just like pretending to like your hobbies. It's deeper. They engage in something almost like projective identification. They subtly absorb your dreams, your core values, your deepest desires, and then they reflect it all back like they're the perfect embodiment of everything you've ever wanted.
Wow. So they become a mirror.
A perfect mirror. They make you feel seen, truly understood, cherished in a way maybe no one ever has before. It creates this incredibly powerful bond, almost like a chemical dependency. It's this intoxicating feeling, and it often leaves people feeling this unprecedented depth of connection. But crucially, it's not love.
Right.
It's a calculated method. It's designed to bypass all your natural defenses, to gain this extraordinary level of trust and intimacy, because they know, maybe instinctively, maybe consciously, that you'd never let them into your inner world if they showed you who they really were right from the start. It's like a precision psychological attack, really.
Yeah.
Engineered to be irresistible and, at first glance, totally invisible.
Okay, so once that initial love bombing phase has someone hooked, once that deep, intoxicating connection is built, what's the next move? Does the mask just drop suddenly, or is it more gradual, more sneaky?
It's usually more insidious than a sudden drop.
Yeah, our sources show this calculated shift into what people call the devaluation phase. And this isn't just, normal relationship criticism, it's the systematic erosion of your reality, often using a tactic we now widely recognize as gaslighting.
Classic gaslighting.
The abuser starts to subtly question your perceptions, your memories, even your emotional responses. They'll say things like, oh, your thoughts aren't quite right on that, or your reaction is, well, it's way too much.
Yeah.
You're being unreliable with your emotions.
Undermining your very sense of reality.
Exactly. And at first, you might push back, right? You defend your experience, but they don't argue logically. Instead, they might respond with disappointment, or they withdraw subtly. And that leaves you agonizing. And that response often starts that little voice. Maybe, just maybe, I am too sensitive. Maybe I am overreacting.
And that's precisely it. That's where they plant those tiny, carefully cultivated seeds of doubt. And the deeper cognitive impact here, for anyone familiar with gaslighting, is that these doubts, they don't just stay out there. They take root inside you. They grow, they spread, they weave themselves into the very fabric of how you see yourself.
Oh, wow.
So you start apologizing instinctively for things you didn't even do. You silence your own voice before you even speak. Not because you're weak, no. It's because you've been conditioned, often without even realizing it, that speaking up just leads to conflict or punishment or abandonment.
You learn it's safer not to speak.
Exactly. You might even tell yourself you're just keeping the peace or choosing your battles. But what's really happening, slowly, bit by bit, is that you're disappearing. And that's the horror of it, isn't it? Because one day, you literally stand in front of the mirror and you don't recognize the person looking back. Where there used to be strength, now there's just hesitation. Where there was confidence, now there's fear. Where there was a voice, now silence.
That's terrifying.
And the core destruction isn't just the lies they tell you. It's the far more insidious lies you start telling yourself. It fundamentally eats away at your epistemic trust, your basic ability to trust your own senses, your judgment, your memory. And it's at that devastating point, where your internal compass is just shattered, that the real challenge emerges.
Yeah.
How do you even start fighting for yourself when you don't even recognize who you're fighting for anymore?
The sheer terror of losing yourself like that, it's just palpable in the accounts we've looked at. One person described it like being trapped in a psychological hall of mirrors. Every reflection was distorted, but they couldn't find the original image.
That's a powerful analogy.
And just when you think you might get a tiny bit of clarity, the control cycle tightens again. It's predictable in its unpredictability almost. Just as you start internalizing the criticism, thinking, okay, maybe it is me, they pull the rug out.
The switch.
One moment, they're cruel, cutting you down. The next, they're showering you with affection, reminding you how much they care, how no one else understands you like they do.
The intermittent reinforcement.
Exactly. This unpredictable pattern, reward, and punishment, it's incredibly manipulative. It fosters this deep psychological dependency we call trauma bonding. You become quite literally almost addicted to those rare, intense moments of kindness that break up the cruelty. You're always hoping for that ideal person to come back, the one from the beginning.
And if we look at the deeper mechanisms, neurologically, psychologically, this intermittent reinforcement is incredibly powerful. It's like a slot machine for the brain. Your brain, craving that hit of connection, that positive affirmation, releases dopamine during those brief good moments. It creates this addictive loop that's very hard to break.
So it keeps you stuck.
It keeps you stuck, and it traps you into genuinely believing you are the problem. You internalize the narrative, I'm too sensitive, I'm too emotional, I'm too irrational, because that's what they've relentlessly trained you to believe. And then, if you ever do try to stand up for yourself, they don't engage rationally.
No.
They twist the narrative. They turn it right back on you. They make you the villain in your own story, often accusing you of the exact things they are doing.
Projection.
Classic projection. And so you doubt yourself even more. You become, in a way, complicit in your own suffering without even realizing it's happening. It was never, ever about love or real connection. It was always fundamentally about control. Their goal isn't just to control what you do, it's to control how you think, to literally rewrite your entire understanding of reality. Once they control your mind, they barely need physical force anymore. You start policing yourself, silencing your own voice. You even start gaslighting yourself before they even have to say anything.
Wow.
It's a prison built inside your own head.
So what does all this mean for the aftermath? For the people who do manage to physically get away from these relationships? Because the healing challenge is just immense, isn't it? It's far more complex than people outside looking in often realize. Just walking away physically, it's not enough. Because as our sources show time and again, your mind has been profoundly reprogrammed. It's wired to work against you. The damage isn't just emotional or psychological, it's deeply cognitive. It actually rewires the way you see the world, how you interpret interactions, and crucially, how you see yourself.
That self-perception piece is key.
Yeah, and it leaves survivors incredibly vulnerable. Sometimes they unconsciously repeat similar patterns or find themselves drawn back into similar dynamics just because that distorted reality feels, well, normal now. It's the default setting.
It's familiar.
Right. You might find yourself, even years later, reacting the same ways, still censoring yourself, still avoiding conflict, still shrinking into that smaller, fearful version, even when the abuser is completely gone. The echoes just linger.
And that brings us right to this fascinating but also quite terrifying concept of the internalized abuser's voice. The real hard fight often truly kicks off after the abuser is physically gone, because now the battle is internal.
Inside your own head.
Exactly. It's about resisting the version of you that they painstakingly built and installed inside your own mind. and that created version of you.
Yeah.
It might even feel safe in a perverse way because it's predictable. It knows how to keep the peace, how to guess reactions, how to survive, and avoid more pain.
A known evil.
Precisely. But that's not freedom. That is just a very sophisticated form of self-imprisonment. If you stay in that survival mode, you never fully reclaim your true authentic self. But the good news, and this is the point of real hope in all our sources, is that the real you, it's still there.
It's not gone forever.
No, it's just buried. Buried under years of self-doubt, layers of conditioning, the weight of all those suppressed emotions. But it hasn't disappeared. And this is the terrifying but also ultimately empowering part of healing. It's the daunting task of remembering who you were before all this happened. It's like standing at the edge of what feels like a vast empty space inside and realizing you need to build something new, something authentic right there. It's a total reconstruction project of the self.
That rebuilding journey, it sounds incredibly hard, but also, like you said, filled with so much hope. So for anyone standing at that edge, how do we even begin? How do you start reclaiming that freedom?
Well, the first step, and it's absolutely non-negotiable according to everything we've seen, is you have to recognize the prison before you can even think about escaping it.
Seeing it clearly.
Yes, you have to consciously see the patterns, name them for what they are, the idealization, the gaslighting, the devaluation, understand the mechanisms. Because once you can label the abuse, once you see it not as random cruelty, but as a calculated system, you create this vital crack in the illusion.
That recognition is power.
It's the initial act of questioning. It's the first glimmer of light cutting through the fog. And that is the beginning of freedom. It means starting to consciously listen, really listen, to that small, quiet, persistent voice inside you, the one that's been systematically ignored and shut down for so long.
Tuning back into yourself.
Which leads right to the next huge challenge. How do you rebuild self-trust? Because that was the very first thing they targeted, the first thing they systematically eroded.
Right. How do you trust yourself again after that?
Well, the most effective way, based on our research, is to start listening to that inner voice again, and crucially, acting on it, even in small ways at first. So when those old doubts creep in, when you feel that familiar hesitation or that wave of guilt wash over you, you have to consciously pause. Ask yourself, wait, is this my authentic voice? Or is this their voice, still living inside my head, still dictating how I feel or react?
Making that distinction.
Yes. Once you can consistently tell the difference, once you can consciously separate what they wanted you to believe from what is actually true for your experience, that's when you start taking your power back. And here's a key insight, something often missed. Their power. It didn't actually come from them having some inherent strength. It came directly from you.
What do you mean?
It came from your kindness, your willingness, maybe your deep-seated need to see the best in people, your incredible capacity to love deeply, your intelligence, your empathy. They took those very strengths and used them against you.
Wow. That reframes it completely.
But they don't get to anymore. Because now that strength, that love, that compassion, that intelligence, it all belongs to you again. It's yours to use for your own well-being, your own flourishing.
Okay. So reclaiming that strength, owning it again, that must mean setting some serious boundaries, right?
Absolutely. Real boundaries.
The kind you don't apologize for. The kind that just clearly state, nope, I will not tolerate being treated this way anymore. It means actively protecting those parts of you that were once so easily pushed around, so easily exploited.
Drawing a line in the sand.
And yes, our sources absolutely confirm at first. Setting those boundaries is going to feel profoundly uncomfortable. It might even feel wrong, maybe selfish, to your old programming.
That conditioning runs deep.
It really does. And that feeling, that guilt, that's just the residue. It's years spent believing your comfort, your well-being, your basic right to exist wasn't as important as theirs, that you needed permission.
Yeah.
But now you start to understand something truly fundamental, something that changes everything. Protecting yourself is not selfish. Standing up for yourself is not cruel. Refusing to be controlled and exploited is not wrong. It's actually an act of radical self-preservation and self-respect.
And that is the profound, transformative shift. The moment you truly, deeply stop asking for permission to exist on your own terms, you become something they never, ever wanted you to be.
Genuinely free. Free.
But here's the part that's often misunderstood, maybe glossed over. The burden of freedom.
What do you mean by burden?
Well, for so long, someone else dictated your reality.
Yeah.
Right? They told you what to believe, how to feel, what to want. There was a strange, perverse predictability to that cage, even with all the cruelty.
You knew the rules, even if they were terrible rules.
Exactly. Now, There are no external rules like that.
Right.
There's no one telling you who you are or what to do. It's just you. And you suddenly have to decide every single day what kind of person you want to be, how you want to live. And for many people, honestly, that's terrifying. Because real freedom doesn't always feel safe. It can feel chaotic, uncertain, full of unknowns.
The responsibility is huge.
It is. And part of you inevitably will be tempted to run back to something predictable, to find another external structure, maybe even another person that tells you who you are, gives you validation. But that's just another trap, isn't it?
Yeah, trading one cage for another.
Right. Real healing isn't about replacing one form of control with another. It's about having the courage to stand in the discomfort of not knowing, owning that space, and choosing to move forward anyway, authentically. It's about reclaiming your fundamental right to take up space in the world, to have opinions, to want things, to need things, to express yourself without that constant fear of reprisal or psychological manipulation. Growth hurts sometimes. It stretches you in uncomfortable ways, but it is absolutely essential if you want to become the whole, vibrant person you're always meant to be.
Wow. Okay. Our deep dive today has really taken us on quite a journey, hasn't it? From understanding the insidious, often invisible ways narcissistic abuse works, how it builds that internal prison, to the really active, courageous work involved in telling your own voice apart from the echoes of their control. And finally, to that intentional, patient process of reclaiming your true self. It really is about building, isn't it? Slowly, intentionally, with a lot of self-compassion and just unwavering patience with yourself.
Absolutely. It's not a race. And perhaps we can leave you, the listener, with this thought to really consider the ultimate freedom. It isn't just about being free from external control. It's about the daily, courageous choice to define yourself, to set your own terms for your existence, and to embrace the discomfort that sometimes comes with genuine autonomy, knowing deep down in your core that you were always capable of this. You just needed to find your way back. So maybe ask yourself, what will it mean for you personally to truly look in the mirror and finally recognize the person staring back, without question, without apology, and with a profound sense of trust in yourself?